I've said it before the tour, JB, and I've said it yesterday, and I'm going to say it again. The most dangerous rival of Tadej Pogačar is called Tadej Pogačar, and today we saw this.
Hello and welcome to JB Squared. I'm JB joined by Johan Bernil. And I have a feeling one of the riders from today's stage is going to get a tongue lashing from Mr. Bernil. He's going to put on his director cap. I think we might hear a "what the f" from Johan. We'll get to that in a second, but we're happy to be here with you to talk about stage 11 of the 2024 Tour de France. But first, our title sponsor for JB Squared, our friends at Ketone IQ. I've got the big bottle, which is what I use at home. This is like 10 shots, and you've got the little travel pack with you, right?
I have this, and actually, I've tried it many times now, and I find it even in the evenings, like especially now when I have 3-4 podcasts after each other.
Yeah,
the mental clarity is amazing after drinking one of these, so I'll do that right now.
I'll do it out of mine as well.
And actually, also, I've done some research on it, JB. It enhances your sleep.
Really?
Sleep better, yeah. It enhances sleep and recovery.
I've changed a lot of variables, so I maybe didn't. My sleep has been better, and maybe I didn't attribute it to that. So. Give Ketone IQ a try for performance, for mental clarity, as Johan suggested. That's what I use it for. And now for sleep. So now it's a new one. You can get 30% off your first subscription order, and I recommend trying it for a while. I've got my wife on a trial period for him because she likes to snack throughout the day. And I said, you know what? This helped me mellow out my appetite and just focus on main meals and not snacking all the time. So I'll report back to you on that. But anyhow, 30% off your first subscription order, free 6-pack when you use the link ketone.com/themove. All right, let's jump into today's stage. I don't even know. It was such an exciting day. I don't know, Johan, if we should start with the final kilometer, or do you want to work up to it and some of the development? Do you want to talk about the breakaway and all that?
I think it's best we start from the beginning, JB. It's a 211 kilometer stage, which is pretty long nowadays in the Tour. 4,300 meters of elevation. Hard. That's the equivalent of a real mountain stage. This was not a real mountain stage. There were hills, but not real high mountains. Super hard stage, but man, especially for the people who have watched it from the beginning, the first 80 kilometers, it took 80 kilometers until a breakaway could go away. And after 80K, they had 50 kilometers average. 50 kilometers per hour average, insane. And I've seen a lot of comments of riders after the finish said this was mental. It was, and then the break goes finally. There's 10 riders in the break with really good riders. Ben Healy, Richard Carapaz, Oyer Lascano, La Peira, Julien Bernard, Romain Grégoire, really strong riders. You say, okay, this is it. This is the breakaway of the day. Logically, that would have to be the case because the team of the yellow jersey would control. There was nobody in there who was really dangerous for the GC. But man, none of that happened. UAE just started the pace really hard, like in my opinion, way too hard. And they just kept the breakaway 2 minutes, and then as soon as the because initially the terrain was hard, but there was no real hills. There was 5 hills in the final of the stage, but mainly in the last 60 kilometers. And once they got into that terrain, there was attacks in the front in the breakaway for guys who said, okay, we need to get out of here because the peloton is too close. But it was clear that UAE was pacing not to control the breakaway. They were going for the stage win.
Yeah, when you described this stage yesterday, one of the things I almost said is I enjoy these kind of stages because you get 2 races to watch.
Yeah,
You know, there's a great breakaway, and then 3-5 minutes later, we get the GC battle. And that's what I thought we might see today, but they clearly had ambitions with the whole stage.
Yeah. I think I mean, honestly, I think I don't understand why they race like this. You know, if you have a yellow jersey, and especially, you know that by now they should know that Jonas is in good shape. You know, he's shown now he's passed all the tests, right? He passed the first stage, he passed the mountain stage, he passed the time trial, and he passed the gravel stage. I mean, he's in good shape.
He a sprint stage too. Let's say that a sprint victory. I'd add that.
Yeah, but you know, and then I think I put it on the move chat. You know, I said what I can't really understand is if you look at the profile. You know that you had the hardest climb with 31 kilometers to go. And it was the last kilometer, which was the steepest. So obviously, if Pogačar wants to plan an attack, he's going to attack there, but it's going to be in the last kilometer. Now, if Pogačar goes, he may have a gap, which happened. But I always compare this. It's the risk reward that you need to look at, right? So what does it take in terms of energy to gain time, and is it really worth the effort? You know, if for example, if it's a steep climb and you have a short downhill and then there's the finish, okay, it's worth it. But it's 30 kilometers to go from that steep climb where the attack was supposed to happen and where it happened. And it's like, okay, Pogačar, okay, you're in amazing shape. You're probably the best rider in the world, but the others are also really good. It's not like they're gonna, you know, look at each other and all of a sudden you're gonna ride away. It's gonna take a lot of energy, and that's what we saw today. Pogačar did. I mean, first of all, they burned the whole team, right? So they have a strong team. They burned all of their riders, and then finally Pogačar attacks, gets a little gap. But you could see already on the top of in the last 500 meters of that climb, once he got that gap, Vingegaard got into his rhythm and he kind of clawed back a little bit, at least visually. He got back. And then, you know, Pogačar went, and on the downhill, he took a little bit more time. But those efforts, even if it's on a downhill, it was a lot of pedaling. It involves a lot of risk taking also. Mm-hmm. So all of that costs energy. And I've said it before the tour, JB, and I've said it yesterday, and I'm going to say it again. The most dangerous rival of Tadej Pogačar is called Tadej Pogačar, and today we saw this. In my opinion, UAE tactically did a stupid race. I don't understand why they do this. They don't have to. At the end of the day, it's Pogačar who's in the lead. He had 1 minute 15, and Vingegaard is behind. He's the one who needs to attack Pogačar, right? So you know, my conclusion would be that Pogačar said, well, you know, Visma, they're scared of me. I think it's the other way around. I think Pogačar's scared of Visma. I think Pogačar's scared of Jonas.
It seems like, and I would love your thoughts, that fear, he wants to put the time in now because he's worried about those last 5 days, right? That's the only logic I can think of for attacking today. He's like, I have to put him in now. They do believe that Jonas is getting stronger as the tour goes on, don't you think?
Yeah, but you know, JB, I think that would have made sense on stage 2, for example, where he did it. On stage 4, where he did it, he took a bit of time there, and then in the time trial. But by now they have to know, hey, Vingegaard is in great shape. I'm not just going to shake him off whenever I want. So today, for example, was, in my opinion, a big mistake. They made a big mistake by, first of all, wanting to race for the stage win, putting the whole team at the front, and I think it's a bit disrespectful towards the rest of the peloton. Like the UAE, rides as if the other guys don't exist, the rivals. It's like they ride their own race, and this is what they're gonna do. And then, but today it exploded in their face because Tadej was he went away. It took a lot of energy, but from what I could see, he just ran out of fuel. At some point,
I want to hear you break that down, because it's interesting watching, sitting next to like Lance George and Sir Bradley, and you guys, like, Pogačar was different. And I'll tell you what I saw, but I'm sure you saw 10 times more things. I saw him stand up quickly and sit down. You rarely see Pogačar. He's either stand up full gas, or he just rides away sitting down, like he did a lot in the Giro. He was up and down, and that's that's when you think you've got it, and then you stand up and your legs are going, oh no, I don't have it. Yeah. What else did you see? Facial expressions, or
what I saw first of all on that last climb, the one before the finish line, you could start to see, okay, he starts to fade a little bit. He started to look back, was reaching in his pockets, he didn't have any gels anymore or anything to eat. And you could see that he was running out of energy.
Did you see Jonas take that gel very near the end?
I did not. But
he was sitting right on Pogačar's wheel, and this is like, when it was going down, and you could see him reach back, squeeze in a gel, and take care of business. But
no, I mean, listen. For me, it's clear. Listen, Pogačar was bonking today. There's no other explanation.
Okay,
he was bonking. So from that point of view, I would say, okay, there's no reason to be concerned, to be worried. But hey, you have to start riding differently, my friend, and especially the team. Ride to defend. Don't ride to attack, or attack when you know that the benefit can be really good, which is an uphill finish. In this, and yesterday, I'll read it, I'll translate it. Yesterday in La Movida, in our Spanish podcast, I said to Victor, I said, if tomorrow Pogačar attacks and tries to drop Vingegaard, I will start to have serious doubts if he can win this Tour de France. For me, it's just stupid to try to gain time in a stage like tomorrow. And exactly that happened. So I don't know, JB, I've been critical of UAE's tactics in the past. Unfortunately, I'm seeing that they haven't learned from the past mistakes. Riding like they did today, and riding like Pogačar did today, that's how he lost the last two tours.
And if you feel like you're just seeing it repeat itself again.
Yeah, well, it's obviously proper also to his style of racing, right? And that's also why we like it so much. Why he's a spectacular rider. He's not a calculator, absolutely not. But it can cost him very, very, very dearly. And I would think, if he won the Tour in 2020, the Tour in 2021, and he did the Tour in 2020, he won it in the last time trial. He was basically always there, but saving, and won it in the last time trial. At 21, he was the big favorite. He did one big attack, an amazing ride, and then he just took a little bit more time now and then, but he didn't do anything stupid. I don't know what has changed in his mentality. Obviously, he has the reputation of, you put a number on his back and he just goes and he wants to win, which is amazing. But this is not a good strategy to win a 3-week tour, and even less so the Tour de France. The Tour de France is a different animal. You have to be, you have to be always conservative. You have to think about tomorrow. And in the case of Pogačar, even more so. Let's not forget, he is on a super high level since March. He comes in all guns blazing, wins Strade Bianche, then he keeps going, wins, goes to the Giro. He has the Giro in his legs, and they may say, okay, yeah, he was going 80%. It doesn't matter. The others were training and preparing for the Tour.
it had Pogačar raced very conservatively in 22 and 23, he could be knocking on the door of his 5th victory in the Tour. This, just some
last year was different because last year he had this crash in Liège, and then he had to kind of, get an emergency plan to get ready for the Tour. So that was different. Mm-hmm. And of course, Jonas is amazingly strong. He's a great cyclist, but I don't know what it is. I have the impression like they're one of the strengths of a great DS or a great team manager, in my opinion, is that you have the authority to keep your champion in his cage, and you only open the door when it matters. And to me, it sounds like the door is always open for Pogačar, that there's nobody saying, hey, think about tomorrow, think about the team, think about this. And Pogačar loves to race. I mean, you can't blame him, but and again, at this point, I still believe he can win the Tour. I still believe that he's the big favorite. It's not because today this happens. This is obviously, I mean, if it's a fueling issue, it's going to get fixed and it's not going to change anything. But he needs to ride differently. He already knows now that he can't shake Jonas whenever he wants. So why don't you just stay with him? Don't burn your team like this. And let the race develop a little bit and see whenever you can to take a little bit of time. He doesn't need to take 1, 2, 3 minutes. He just takes a little 15 seconds there, 20 seconds there. He has 2 minutes and he's okay for the last time trial.
I have a pretty good grasp on what you would say to Pogačar if you were his director, right?
Maybe he would. I mean, maybe he wouldn't listen.
I know. But everything you've said in the last 10 minutes would be great director advice for Pogačar. Now, Johan, let's put your director hat on. If you're in the bus talking to Jonas in the team, I would love to know what you thought, what you're thinking, and what you would tell them, because the momentum has swung in his direction.
For the moment, yeah.
Yeah. What would you tell him?
Well, I would tell him to keep doing what he's doing. I mean, he's not nervous. He's, patient. He's shown that he's in great shape, not in his top shape, but it's good enough to not lose a lot of time or even to come back to a Pogačar. So I would say, okay, let's keep the pressure on. Let's keep him nervous because he's nervous. Pogačar, he's, it's also, and this is what the Tour is compared to all the other races. Like everything's so blown up and everybody's on edge. Yeah. So what we saw, that statement from Pogačar after the gravel stage, right? Like saying, well, we're not happy. They're scared of me. They only look for my wheel. Pogačar never says anything like that about his rivals. Mm-hmm. Yet on the Tour, now he has said it, and it's that he's on edge. He's on edge. He's nervous. He's anxious. And so that's what I would say to Jonas. I say, okay, we keep our patience, stay calm. Let him deal with all the stress. That let him say stuff, whatever. We don't care. We just do our stuff. We just do our race, and just stay out of trouble. I mean, I'm going to go back to, for example, what Pogačar did on stage 2, for example, that was expected and that was understandable. He wanted to test Jonas, couldn't shake him. On stage 4, absolutely understandable, great strategy. They got time on him. In the time trial, they got time on him. But then, for example, in the gravel stage, I mean, these attacks with 60, 70K to go, that's madness. I mean, you don't do that if you're in that situation, because it takes so much energy. First of all, JB, on a stage like the gravel, for example, right? So if you as a leader, if you attack, you're in front, that means that you're losing almost all of your teammates. So if something happens, there's no assistance. You need to stay with your team. You need to stay under the protection of your team.
And he's got a lot of teammates nearby.
Yeah, he does. He does. Plus, I mean, and the same goes for Remco, for example, in that stage. I mean, that attack with 70K to go. I mean, where are you going, man? Where are you going? You're not going anywhere.
As we get farther into this, let me talk about the teammates that are, 4 in the top 10. There are other riders trying to protect their position so they could get some help, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, having 4 in the top 10, that's also a bit strange, I would say. It's not normal. I mean, it's not the usual. You could have 1, but I mean, I guess from now on, it's going to change also. I mean, I think Ayuso, for example, lost 4 places today. So I think he's now seeing that the Tour is a different race, and he should probably start to think about, completely be at the service of the team. I haven't seen it for the moment, not even today. So that's obviously somebody that I would have a serious talk with. I think the mistake has probably been made before, like not having had the talk, like a clear talk before the Tour
about what his role is supposed to be.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, listen, he's young, so he can change, But I don't know. I mean, the strategy of UAE is to me, it makes no sense. There is no long-term thinking. If you do a Tour de France, you need to think long-term. You need to think 3 weeks. This is a 3-week effort, and especially when I heard João Almeida after the finish say that their plan before the stage was to go for the stage win, then I said, okay, that's just, now I understand why they are having the problems they're having, because you just don't do that. I mean, if you see the tremendous amount of effort that Tim Wellens and Marc Soler and then Pavel Sivakov did, you need these guys in 1 week too, and these kind of efforts, it's not just Pogačar, it's the team that basically, you put the hurt on the peloton, but you're hurting yourself. Plus, let me tell you, you're not making any friends. Mm-hmm. You're not making any friends. This could backfire. These kind of, like, not letting this break go. It's like, okay, why does Pogačar need to win this stage? He doesn't need to win this stage.
I know that during the stages, you're communicating with a lot of industry friends that, directors, former directors. Is anyone that you're communicating with, defending what Pogačar and UAE is doing, or is everyone shaking their head the same way you are?
More or less, everybody's shaking their head.
I'm just wondering if anyone has that you respect is going, no, this is good.
I'm not communicating with the UAE guys, so they're probably going to say it's good, but and they're not communicating with me because I've criticized them and they're a bit pissed off at me, but I don't really care. But yeah, I mean, I've said, I think in a podcast last year at the beginning of the season, I said, I'm worried that a rider like Pogačar, who is with that kind of drive, that kind of hunger, is not counterbalanced in the car with somebody who kind of calms it down. I said that at the beginning of last season, and I see that nothing has changed.
Yeah, we've said it all along. Like, the recurring theme is he needs someone just to put the reins on him. It's like quite often in horse racing, the jockey's trying to keep them from killing themselves, right?
JB, listen, I mean, he's won 2 times the Tour. 2 times the guy closest to him, giving him advice and calming him down, was Alan Piper. He was the main guy in the Tour of 2020 and the 21. Then I don't know what happened. Something happened there in the team. Alan obviously has his health to take care of, which, by the way, is going pretty good for the moment. He told me, but since Alan is gone, there's nobody there. I mean, I don't know if it's Tadej Pogačar who doesn't listen or doesn't respect anybody, or that nobody has the authority to say it. The worst thing that can happen to a rider like Pogačar is to have a guy next to him, advising him, who follows him in his hunger to race and to win. It's you need somebody to kind of counterbalance that, to say, hey, okay, we'll do what we can, but hey, think about your team. You don't need to win that many stages. You don't need to win there. We need to be smart about this. And I have the impression that there's too much passion in the management that follows the passion and the enthusiasm of Pogačar. And in a big tour, you can't be passionate and so hungry. You need to be calculating. I mean, people don't like to hear that. It's obviously great to have a rider like Pogačar who, whenever a rabbit crosses the street, he goes and chases it down. But it's not the way you win a Tour de France.
This is a wild card question, but you've talked about it in the past, the pressure from sponsors and UAE. Do you think maybe there's some pressure coming down from the top to just dominate and win more stages, or is it all Pogačar and potentially a director?
I don't think it's the pressure from the sponsor. The sponsors, what they want is to win the Tour.
Yeah.
If you win one stage and you win the Tour, it's great, But I think it's something that's, everybody follows that. They're they're super strong team. They have the best team with the strongest riders in this Tour de France, no discussion. And it's difficult to stay calm and to say, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. No. We're not going to do nothing. We're going to we're just going to be quiet, and just, what we want is that yellow jersey in Nice,
Yeah.
And I mean, from a distance, I don't know the details within the team, but from what I can see and observe, there's this passion and this enthusiasm, which is a bit out of control. I've read a quote from Machin before the Tour, and he said, "Yeah, we don't like to ride defensively." Well, I have bad news, man. If you want to win the Tour, you better ride defensively. Otherwise, you're not going to win.
Yeah, I know we do a lot of analogies and comparisons, but look at martial arts. Your defense is every bit as important as your offense, right? Yeah. Let's talk about Roglic and Remco for a minute. I've seen it again and again and again. Remco does not panic. And he grinds back, much like we saw Jonas do. And that's cool to see. This is going to be a good podium fight.
It is. I mean, listen, we're now 11 stages in, and we talked about the big four, and there they are. The big four are there, and they're close to each other. So I think today was a great day for Remco. First of all, I mean, he defended that place really, really well. As you said, didn't react, didn't panic, rode his own pace. And then, he seems to struggle a bit in the technical downhills. But then he was with Roglic, and great day for Roglic also, actually. He showed that the guy's tough, and, he doesn't have that top speed of those two first guys, but he's there. He's there, and, he doesn't crack. He comes back. So don't count him out. Remco, I'm pleasantly surprised that he keeps having that level. So step by step, he ticks all the boxes. Now we need to wait until it's the high mountains, which we're going to see for the first time on stage 14. But for the moment, he looks good. I mean, he's a minute down. He's in second position, and he's up there with the big guys. So really good.
Just an observation, and I love your thoughts, because you've obviously followed Remco very closely for a long time. And you've talked many times about the tremendous pressure on his shoulders, which has made him a very serious young rider. He seems like he's having fun. Like, he just observing him post race and stuff like that. Like, I feel like he's already disproved some critics that he can race in the Tour de France. He came in leaner, but just watching his personal interaction and the cool down and stuff like that, I feel like he's just having a great time at this tour.
Well, first of all, I mean, he's having a great time because he feels great. He feels in great shape. And so, from now on, whether you're having a great time at the tour is based on your mental suffering capacity. They're all tired, but if you have something to fight for and if you have something to defend, it's a completely different story. But I mean, he's every difficult day he's there. He has a stage win. He's in second place. He has the white jersey. What is it not to like? I mean, his first Tour de France. So
I know I keep reminding myself that it's his first Tour de France. It doesn't seem right.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like he's been around. Like, anything else from today before we move on to tomorrow?
Not really. I think we covered it all. Great. I mean, listen, Jonas, what a win. I want to just to come back on this. So what I observed is that once Jonas got back to Pogačar, obviously you could see that Pogačar was bonking. He was running out of gas. When a rider catches somebody that's running out of gas, you feel that. So basically, Pogačar, just when he saw that he was losing terrain, he just put everything on. Okay, I need to win those 8 seconds. He got those 8 seconds, but barely. From then on, when you see that Jonas starts to collaborate with Tadej, that's already an indication that he feels that he has the upper hand.
When he went to the front,
The fact that he collaborated, and I can tell you, after 3-4 pulls, when they pull through and they relay each other, I can guarantee you that Jonas felt that Tadej was running out of legs. For sure. You feel that. If you relay, you can feel if there's something in the pedal stroke or if it's just a guy who's sitting on his bike and turning the pedals. And so that's also, I mean, I could see that every time Jonas went to the back, he kind of was looking, and Pogačar came through, but not with a lot of conviction. And that's also the reason when they got to the finish, when they, it was an uphill drag, usually that would be ideal for Tadej, and the fact that Jonas felt that he had the upper hand, that's also the reason why Jonas started the sprint. He felt like, okay, if I start the sprint, I can have him, because he knew he was empty. He felt that Pogačar was empty, and so if Jonas waits and lets Tadej do his typical acceleration, that's potentially a loss, because that's the thing that Pogačar has on Jonas, this punch, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't do that. So he started the sprint earlier, and Tadej, had to fight to keep the wheel, then came next to him, but ran out of legs. So that was something that I think when they were relaying at the end, Jonas knew that he had him.
And winning a sprint from the front, leading out like that, is very hard to do.
Yeah.
And that had to be a mental blow to Pogačar, because you put in your notes, I'm glad you brought this up, an interesting thing, that Pogačar has not lost a 2-man sprint in the Tour ever.
Yeah. First time he wins, he loses a 2-man uphill sprint in the Tour. I don't know. I would have to look at Jonas's wins if he has ever won in a sprint, a race. Like usually it's a time trial or a mountain stage where he comes by himself. So, but anyway, I mean, it was so great to see, the emotion of Jonas. I mean, now there you really see what the guy went through, right? I mean, we cannot imagine. He was in the hospital. At the beginning, he was fighting for his life. Then he was, fighting to be able to back on a bike, and then finally he gets to the start of the Tour with all these doubts. I mean, the amount of hard work, the doubts. Will I do it? Should I do it? And then finally, coming to this tour with doubts and day by day growing into it, and then finally winning this stage. That was such an emotional moment. You can really see that the guy went through a lot.
Do you think because Pogačar was able to put time into him in the downhill, we're going to see more of that as an aggressive thing? Yeah, I think so. That makes me nervous. I mean, because they reminded us, if you look at, it was Jonas, it was Remco, and it was Primoz that took that nasty fall on the same downhill.
Yeah,
that wasn't that long ago. That's in your head. I mean,
absolutely.
Even us, amateur, people amateur racing, you have a bad crash, it's in your head for quite a while.
Yeah.
And then you forget about it and you move on, hopefully, but it's still very fresh for all three of those riders.
It is. But no, I expect totally that they will try on downhills. I mean, you try everywhere, right? I mean, downhills are part of the race.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I would be him, if I go on a downhill, I'll make sure that there's not far to go to the finish, because it needs to, if you take a gamble, if you waste a bullet, it better be for a good time gain. Otherwise, you're going to pay the price at some point.
All right. Tomorrow, you've predicted a bunch sprint. I think on the move, they were thinking it would be more of a breakaway day, but breakaways have been harder to form, it seems.
I've predicted a bunch sprint because I think there's only 2 chances left for bunch sprint tomorrow, and then stage 16, I think. Other than that, there's no chances. So I think it's going to be a bunch sprint because there's teams in this tour that have teams built exclusively around sprinters. And especially Alpecin needs a bunch sprint. They need those 2 stages to be a bunch sprint if they still want to have, it's a long shot, but to have a chance for the green jersey. So Philipsen would need to win those 2 stages, and then Girmay would need to be 4th, 5th, or 6th or something. Okay. And then there's still possibilities with the intermediate sprint. So I think there's a few teams that will work together, and that tomorrow there's a big chance to have a bunch sprint. Yeah,
there's some other sprinters that are pretty hungry that have been there. We've seen De Lee up there a lot. Yeah. Groenewegen's hot. He's sprinting well.
Yeah.
Jakobsen's in there.
Jakobsen's suffering. I mean, then we still have Mark Cavendish, who still can win another stage.
Yeah. Not expected, Cav. You've already done it, but that would be great.
Yeah.
And then if you pick up the phone and FaceTime with your friends over here at the Move, that would be nice. Okay. So, let's move on then. And we'll look for that bunch sprint tomorrow. Let's jump into Ventum Trivia. We're going to give away a brand new NS1 at the end of the tour. You can register every single day by submitting your answer. Every day you submit one, that's a new entry into the drawing. So the question from yesterday was, what fitness competition did Lance recently get first place in his age group? That was Hydrox, New York City. Pretty interesting event if you want to look it up. It's pretty wild. Today's question is, what year, city, and country did Lance win the UCI Road Race World Championships? Okay, what year?
I know that one.
Yeah, I figured you were you there? Were you in that same race?
I raced. I raced.
That's what I figured. Timing wise, yeah. What year, city, and country did Lance win the UCI Road Race World Championships? Send it to, don't email it to us, send it to ventumracing.com/themove. Submit your answer there. And also, and I should have mentioned this to you earlier, if you're in the market for a brand new road or gravel bike, listeners of the Move can save 20%. That's a pretty good discount. 20% discount on any Ventum bike during the tour and through July by using the code TheMove20 at checkout. And now let's jump on to, I've got a quick comment and one question for you, Johan. The comment we were discussing yesterday, you were commenting about how many days that Tadej has had in yellow. It's so young in his career. And then I threw out, well, who has the most days in yellow? Not most stage victories, like we're talking about with Merckx and Cavendish, but most days in yellow. The answer is pretty remarkable. 96 days in yellow for Eddie Merckx.
That's mental.
That's crazy.
I mean, think about this. So he won. So he won 5 times the Tour. He didn't. There's one Tour I know that he was in yellow from start to finish. So that's 21. Mm-hmm. But if he would have had all 5 Tours 21, that would be 105, right?
Yeah.
100. How many he say? How many?
96.
Okay. So there must have been one Tour that he didn't win that he was in yellow for a long time. Also, several. I mean, I know he lost one to Bernard Thévenet, where he was for a long time in yellow, and another one to Luis Ocaña. So yeah, it's probably in 7 Tours.
So many jerseys. He could literally hand those out as Halloween treats. Here, a little scarecrow. Here you go. Have a yellow
jersey. He doesn't have many anymore.
Here's a good question for you. I said this is interesting. This is from Rich. And Rich says, I was wondering why last year it was said that Tadej lost the Tour because his lack of preparation due to his accident earlier in the season. But now the same people are saying that Jonas will win because he is getting stronger as the Tour goes on, even though he had the same issues with a lack of preparation leading up to the Tour because of an accident. It seems like a double standard. Can you explain? That's from Rich.
It is true. It's true. It's a bit of a double standard. I think what, the main explanation, I think, is that they're 2 different type of riders. And also historically, Jonas has always been strong in the last week of the Tour, of any Tour he has done. Even the Vuelta he did last year, he was super strong in the last week. They're different riders. They're different. Their way of racing is differently. Tadej has sometimes shown a bit of weakness in the last week because of his aggressive way of racing at the beginning. And for example, last year he came into the Tour with the preparation which was not ideal, and he started full gas attacking. With Jonas, it's different. He tries to follow and he looks where he can get. And so, I mean, it's a theory, JB. It's not sure. We're not sure that Jonas will improve during the Tour. Let me tell you one thing which will improve is his confidence after today. That's improving, and that's a big factor. If your confidence improves, I mean, physically, you're going to be better too. Mm-hmm. But it's a theory. I think it's based on history that Jonas is typically at his strongest in the last week or the second half of the Tour.
There you have it. That makes sense. If you have a question for Johan for a future show, please send it in, themove@wedo.team. And let's hope for a bunch sprint tomorrow. Okay. And thank you again for everybody for listening. We really do appreciate it. I know there's a lot of choices out there to get your race coverage, but Johan, thank you for all your expertise, and we will talk tomorrow.
Thank you, JB.